In today's video, I'm going to show you how to change brake hoses and bleed brakes on a Mazda Tribute, but same basic principles apply to pretty much any car on the road. Brake hoses are a crucial part of the braking system. They provide flexibility during steering and suspension movement. If a brake hose fails, you will lose brake fluid and your brake pedal will drop to the floor next time you push it. Now, if you look at the way the brake hose is routed here, it is no wonder that after 150,000 miles worth of turning left and right, it starts to look like this. And it is just a matter of time before it bursts open. Even though brake hoses are very tough and are built to endure a lot of abuse, nothing is forever. So definitely check your brake hoses every once in a while and make sure you don't have cracks, bulges, or scuff marks, because it is an immediate red flag. Braking system is not something you want to take lightly. Replacing brake hoses is a fairly simple job. You don't even need to take the wheels off most of the time, so don't put it off. Now let's begin. For this job, all you're going to need is a set of new brake hoses. Always replace both sides, because if one is failing, the other one is not far behind. Brake fluid. Check the owner's manual or master cylinder cap to know what type. And a set of wrenches, preferably line wrenches, also called flare nut type, because they are not going to slip and round off your flare nut as easily. Brake line fasteners are exposed to weather conditions more than other parts of the car, therefore are more prone to corrosion, so rounding them off is not a hard thing to do. First, take the new hoses out of the package and let them rest for 30 minutes. This will relieve any deformation caused by the packaging. I like to make sure my new brake hoses match my old ones to make sure there are no surprises later when I'm trying to install them. Second, make sure brake fluid level is full, because you're going to lose some fluid when you disconnect the hose, and if the fluid level drops too low, air will get into the master cylinder, which can take forever to get rid of. And if you're not sure where your brake master cylinder is, it is always located on the driver's side, close to the firewall, because it is attached to the brake pedal. Right there. On some cars, brake fluid reservoir is placed away from the master cylinder for ease of access if the master cylinder is hard to get to, like it is on this Ford Focus. So don't let that confuse you, just follow the hoses. Brake fluid reservoir will usually have a sign on the cap that looks like this, or it will say brake fluid or .3, 4, or 5. It is always recommended to use brake fluid from a new sealed container, because brake fluid is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture, and once brake fluid gets contaminated with moisture, it loses its qualities, like boiling point drops, it can freeze in cold temperatures, metal lines can start rusting on the inside, and so forth. That is why master cylinder reservoirs on modern cars are translucent. They are transparent enough to check the fluid level without even opening the cap. Next, I'm going to turn the wheel out to gain better access to the brake hose. Then, break loose both sides of the hose and the bleeder valve. Bleeder valve may have a cap on it. Don't let that confuse you, just pop it off. Also, if you have a choice of a 12-point or a 6-point wrench or socket, always try to use the 6-point. It has a lesser chance of slipping and rounding off the valve nut. Like this. There are two reasons why you want to break everything loose before you start replacing the hose. First, to make sure you have all the tools and to have them ready, so you can do everything quick instead of running around looking for the right size with brake line open and fluid dripping all over the place. Second, you will confirm that everything is ready to be removed. Trust me, nothing like disconnecting one side of the brake hose just to find out that the other side is rusted out and stuck or rounded off, and now you're trying to break it loose with penetrating oil and vice grips with the brake line open and fluid dripping all over you. Once you got your set of tools ready and all the nuts loose, place a drain pan underneath and start by removing the retaining clips. Side cutters work great for that. Next, unscrew the flare nut from the brake hose. Once disconnected, the hose comes right out. And now, with the help of a wrench, you can just unscrew it out of the other side, out of the caliper. Some hoses might have a banjo bolt holding them at the caliper. Take the bolt out. Usually there is a washer on each side. Make sure to replace those and check the bolt that the opening is not plugged up and is free and clear of any rust or dirt. Now back to our car. A little bit of brake fluid will drip out of the metal line. That's normal. And just like that, the old hose comes out and the new one goes in. Screw the new hose into the caliper nice and snug. And then get the flare nut started before you try to fixate anything else. Otherwise, the hose can get difficult to maneuver and it'll be hard to line it up with the flare nut threads. Now, place the hose and the clips back in place and give both sides one final check with a wrench. Once both sides of the hose are tight and everything is put in place, open the bleeder valve and wait for brake fluid to start coming out. You may need to open the reservoir to let the fluid drain. This is called gravity bleeding. You'll see some spitting and sputtering first. That's the air getting pushed out of the new hose. Once you see a steady stream of brake fluid, go ahead and close the valve. Spray the whole area with brake cleaner, dry it up with rags or compressed air, and have an assistant hold steady pressure on the brake pedal while you are inspecting your new line for leaks at the connections. And very important, turn the wheel left and right a few times to make sure the hose doesn't get pinched or twisted, because that can cause fluid flow problems and premature brake hose wear and or failure. It seems like my hose is slightly twisted, so I'm going to remove the retaining clips and pop it out of the holding brackets. If you can see, there is 2 notches on the opposite sides of the brake hose that fit into these grooves. You can use a wrench to align the notch with the next groove, but it will create tension in the metal line. So it is better to loosen the flare nut, and then your brake hose will turn freely without needing a wrench and without creating any tension in the metal part of the brake line. And now this brake hose is aligned exactly as the old one was. Make sure to check your fluid level occasionally and top it off if necessary. Repeat the same process for the other side. Important thing I want to mention, once you're done with pretty much any brake repairs that involve disconnecting brake lines, you will need to bleed your brakes, especially if your brake pedal feels low or spongy. Gravity bleeding we already performed can get rid of most of the air in the system, but some stubborn air bubbles can require more bleeding. If you're suspecting that there is still air in the system, there is a few different ways to bleed it, and the most basic of them is manual bleeding, also called two-person bleeding. For this method, one person would push down the brake pedal and the other person would open a bleeder valve to force the brake fluid and hopefully some air out of the system. Release of brake fluid through the bleeder valve will cause the brake pedal fall to the floor, at which point you can close the valve and repeat the process. You bleed one wheel at a time, 3 to 5 times, starting with the wheel farthest from the master cylinder, which is usually right rear, and ending with the wheel closest, which is usually left front. If you want to learn more about bleeding the brake system, check out my next video where I will show how to check if your brake system has air in it and review 3 different ways to bleed it. Now, as far as disposing of the used brake fluid goes, always consult with your local disposal and recycle facilities. You may be able to use some kitty litter, around $5 for a 25-pound bag, to absorb all the fluid and then let it sit for 3-4 days until it dries up. Brake fluid is alcohol-based, so it will eventually evaporate. Bear in mind, brake fluid is toxic and flammable, so keep it away from kids and animals. When kitty litter dries up, you should be able to place it in a plastic bag and dispose of it with the rest of your trash. Do not dispose of the litter until it is dry. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share your experience in the comments below. Thank you for watching, good luck, and take care.